welcome to ET Live. I'm Leanna Aguilar, and I'm so thrilled because today Lucy Hale from Life Sentence is joining us today. Hi, Luce.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you too. Thank you so much for stopping by
Oh,
today.
yeah. This is fun.
I know. So for all the fans who are tuning in right now, send us your questions for Lucy. I will be delivering them to her. But first, we have to talk all about Life Sentence.
Let's do it.
It has been such a delightfully fun show. It's like a breath of fresh air on the CW right now.
Yeah. I mean, we were just chatting about it earlier. It's such a unique and different show for the CW. And, you know, we're sort of finding our place of where we fit in the network. And, you know, the people that are watching are loving it. So it's great that it's slowly but surely finding its audience.
Definitely.
And I'm just grateful because it is such a extraordinary story. And I love these characters. I love the places that they go. There's so many topics that really spoke to me. So I hope that they're speaking to other people. So I really hope that it's continues to like gain traction and that people give it the chance that it deserves. It's got a special place in my heart for sure.
I love that. Well, one of the things that I'm excited about but also apprehensive about is that this week's episode, West Side Story, is going to be bringing a blast from Wes's past.
Yes.
What can you tease for the fans out there?
So, I mean, throughout this story, it is about a girl who's given a second chance at life. But the foundation of it is this love story between Stella and Wes. And they seemingly have had like a perfect little relationship.
Mini relationship.
A little mini relationship that's now going to become a lot larger.
Yeah.
And it never crosses Stella's mind that Wes has been in love before, that Wes has ever been engaged before, that he said the same things to Stella that, you know, that he said those other words to someone else. And it's a little bit of a shock that we find out his ex-fiance, she comes into town and sort of rocks Stella's world because she's charming, she's British, she's gorgeous, and I don't think Stella quite knows what to do with all this information. Yeah.
I love that Stella, naturally because of what she's been going through in her life and her family really wanted to protect her because she was already going through such a difficult situation, she has been kind of kept in a bubble.
Oh, yeah.
And so that bubble has now popped.
It's definitely popped. I mean, it popped the day that she got the news that she was going to survive. And then over the course of the next couple of weeks, you just see all these things start piling up in her life that she had no idea about. And as you can imagine, it's a little overwhelming for one person to handle. So you'll get to see how Stella handles all this information.
Yeah, especially it's got to be difficult if you accidentally catch feels for someone new.
Well, that's the other thing is Stella never really had time to have a crush on someone or date someone. And, you know, there were no dating apps for her. So now that she's got the rest of her life, she starts seeing people in a new light. And she definitely starts developing feelings for Dr. Grant, who is Sadie. She befriends this little girl, Sadie, and it's her oncologist. And
there he is.
And she, you know, she denies it for a really long time. She pushes it away, but it's just Dr. Grant understands Stella in a way that Wes never could. And so, yeah, we were just talking about the last line he delivered was, "I wish I had met you 7 months ago." And Riley was like, Riley, who plays Dr. Grant, was like, how do I deliver this in a way that is not creepy or weird? And it left me with the impression, like, I want to see more of them together. So you get to see this, it's more of like a love square because Wes and Pippa, like, develop something again. And then there's a lot of stuff going on here, but it gets interesting.
I feel so torn at this point because like Dr. Grant and Stella have this instantaneous chemistry, but at the same time, marriage is marriage.
Marriage is marriage. Yeah, there are rules to marriage.
What has it been like for you jumping into a brand new show that is not of murders every other
I mean, it's so bizarre to not be left with a cliffhanger of who died this week, you know? It's such a different experience. And before we started this, I was telling you, it's so bizarre to kickstart a new show off the ground that didn't, you know, with PLL, it had a following before it was even a show. It was a book series. And so to literally start something off the ground and to get people's attention and to get people on the bandwagon has been a big challenge. But it's been very fun. You know, this is tonally so different from PLL. And although I'm had the time of my life on that show, it's been nice to step away and do different things and play different characters. And, you know, I think the character Arya will follow me around forever,
Yes.
and I'm totally cool and fine with that. But
at least it's a cool character.
Nice to mix it up.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
At least it's a character you enjoy.
I'm dressed like Arya today,
I know,
actually.
you really are.
Yeah.
We're starting to get in so many great fan questions. Charlotte from YouTube wants to know, what do you want the fans to take away from Life Sentence?
Oh, Charlotte, that's a great question. For me, I wanted to take on this role because, I love strong, independent female characters, and Stella is all those things, but she's also really flawed and really lost, and is figuring out where she fits into the world. And I think that we can all relate to that. The whole moral of this show is like, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Yeah.
And I think that we can all do a little bit more of that in our life. And I think that overall, this show deals with so many heavy topics, but they do it all with a sense of humor, and they do it all with their family and friends as their backbone. And I think that it's just got a lot of heart to it. And I want people to sort of not take away from the show that we are not guaranteed anything, and we should be grateful for every relationship, every moment that we have.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We're starting to see a little bit of like a divide in the comments right now. So Daria from YouTube says Stella and Dr. Grant should be together.
Okay.
Ash from Facebook says, I'm loving Life Sentence, but I'm so torn between Stella and Wes and Stella and Dr. Grant. Who did you have the most instant chemistry with on set?
Oh, it's so tough. It's so tough because I, as Stella, was like, well, can't she just have two husbands? Can't she just like play in both of these fields a little bit?
She's used to getting whatever
it's
she
interesting.
wants.
Like I have great chemistry with both of them, but in very different ways. Like Riley brings this like super masculine like vibe, and then there's Elliot, who like I immediately met him, was like, we're gonna be best friends forever, and we are. Like, he's one of my dearest friends. So it was fun to get to play around with two different types of chemistry, and I can't say like which side I lean more towards, but I definitely have one that I lean more towards. I just don't want to say it out loud because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But I definitely like them both.
Yes.
And you get to see her sort of struggle with who should I be with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing about it is that you and your co-stars get along. You all
Isn't
are
it
like
nice?
constantly in each other's Instagram photos and everything. What has that been like for you?
Like, truly a dream job. I am so hopeful that we get to go back and make more episodes, purely from the fact that, of course, I love the characters and I love the story, but I love these people so much. We had the best time.
Yeah.
And it's been, a much different dynamic than PLL, where it was all female. Like, this cast is female and male of all ages. We have little kids, and then there's Dylan Walsh, who plays my dad. So, like, we're kind of all over the map. It's great. It's nice. I recognize that it's not always like that on set. So anytime it is, I count my blessings and, hope that it stays that way.
Well, and I loved that you recently reconnected with Ian Harding, and you shared a little picture on
we like
Instagram.
broke the internet. I didn't realize it was going to be that reaction, but.
Where were you guys, and what was it like to reunite for a little bit?
I was in Chicago, and Ian is filming a Fox pilot out there. I don't know the name of it, but it's the Katie Holmes Fox pilot.
Oh, nice.
So I'm very excited for him. And he was actually staying at the same hotel that I was, and we kept missing each other. So finally he texted and was like, I'm downstairs creepily drinking coffee under the stairwell. So I immediately saw him because I knew exactly where he'd be. And it was good. I hadn't seen him in a long time, so we just caught up and, catching up on life.
Love it.
Very happy for him. I love Ian so much.
How do you feel about where Arya left off on PLL?
I mean, they got married, so I think that, I imagine, that they're off somewhere living their, boring married couple life. But also at the same time, I have a feeling that turmoil is just happening for these girls all over again. Yeah. So we'll see. Well, I don't know. I'm very curious to see the spinoff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and which leads us to Sorlin from YouTube says, would you ever make an appearance on Perfectionists? And everyone's loving your hair, by the way. She just lightened it, guys.
Thanks, guys. I rarely wear it straight, but
I love
thank you. Question. What did you say? Perfectionist.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to Janelle and Sasha quite a bit, and I keep in touch with Marlene.
Yeah.
And nobody will really tell me what the show's about. So I'm very curious to see how they're bringing these two characters into like a whole new world of the Perfectionists, because I haven't read that book, but they're two very different worlds, so they're like meshing them together. Yeah, I think Arya would definitely, I would definitely be on that show. I am stoked for them, and I hope it does well, and equally as curious as everyone out there to see what they do with it.
That they haven't told you anything.
No, I never get told anything.
Secret, it's one of the liars.
No, but like the whole thing was on PLL is I was always the last one to know. And that's a conscious decision though, and I do that on Life Sentence too.
You never wanted it to affect your performance.
No, because if I knew the ending of, Troian's character, like that would have, you could say it wouldn't affect, but it would, somewhere in the back of my mind would have affected how I played it. Yeah. So I always try not to know too much.
When you look back on PLL, is there an episode or a scene that you wish you could revisit or redo almost?
Ooh, that's a good question. To this day, my favorite episode is the pilot. And I just wish I could go back to doing the pilot knowing the success that it would have.
Yeah.
Just because pilots are so weird and so scary because you do them and you're like, there's no job security ever. You're like, we have to beat out X amount of other shows, and then even when it's on the air, you don't know if it's going to be a hit. So pilots are always weird. You never really enjoy them because you just don't know.
You're just anxious.
So I would love to go back to that episode being my favorite episode just because it set up the story and the world perfectly. I thought it was a perfect episode. And but I wish I could go back and like enjoy it more and be like, I'm going to be on the air for 8 more years. This is cool. Instead of worrying about like my next paycheck. So.
Or also even just to be like, have fun in the bathroom scene.
Oh yeah, I was so nervous.
Really?
So nervous because at that point I had a crush on Ian because we had just met. And I was like 20 years old. I would have had a crush on any cute boy that was around. And yeah, we definitely probably could have gone for it more in that scene. For sure.
You guys always went for it though. I loved it.
Yeah, we did. We were game. Yeah.
Well, and then one more, Ian, question for you. Andrew from YouTube wants to know, did Arya and Ezra have kids? Will they have kids?
I imagine so, yes. I could see them like having triplets or something accidentally, like not on purpose, like just we're like, let's have a baby, but they end up having 3. I could see that for sure. And I imagine them living somewhere desolate, like away from the craziness and like her knitting and him doing whatever he does. What does he do for a living? He's a teacher? Yeah. No, but he got fired.
He's an author.
He's an author. I should know this.
He's an
Yeah, I should know this. He writing his books. Yeah.
Oh, Rachel says, Lucy, I love your music, which
Thank you.
I do too.
Thanks, Rachel.
And she said, you tweeted last week that Lie a Little Better was about Drew.
Yeah.
Did you mean Drew Van Acker from PLL? And also, love you, want more music?
Yes, I meant Drew Van Acker. So for years, people had asked me what that song was about or who it was about. And I was like, I should just tell them. And then I was like, no, I should just tease people for a little bit. So for years, I didn't tell anyone. And so finally the other week, it came on my shuffle. And I was like, yeah, this song's about Drew. I had a crush on Drew. And it was, years ago.
Did he know?
He does now. Yeah, he sure does now. But he's like happily with someone and it's all like done with. But now the world knows. When Drew Van Acker, he's a cutie.
He's a sweetheart too. Such a nice guy. Do you find that when you're working on a show, you're in such close quarters with people, is it easy to fall into crushes with people?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why actors can't stay married because it's like, woo, it like almost, I'm older now, so I can like differentiate like real life and work. But when you're younger, you're especially when you're on location, you're like almost forced to bond with these people in a different way and play. There's a lot of head games going on, and I've had lots of little showmances before.
Yeah.
And then we stop filming or working. I'm like, oh wait, I don't really like you. Never mind. We call them showmances because it's like for the time being.
How's your love life now, Lucy?
I'm happily spending time with my dog.
Yes.
No, I will say I'm very happy. I'm like, life is good in all areas. It's good stuff.
That makes me happy.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that you don't necessarily even need a guy to be happy in Hollywood.
No, you don't. You don't. You really don't. I have now figured that out at 28 years old. So.
Love it.
Yeah.
We are running out of time. You guys are still sending so many great questions, so I'm going to sneak a couple more in right now. Stephanie from YouTube says, how was it channeling your grandmother through Tyler the Medium?
Oh, yes. So I shot this while I was up in Vancouver. Okay. Tyler came up there, and the whole thing about this is he never knows who he's going to meet.
Is that real?
It's true. It's true, and
okay.
I can say that. So he actually didn't even know who I was when we were done. He had no idea. He met me and was like, I don't know what you do for, like, he just didn't know.
Yeah.
They try to protect him from, so he can't cheat or whatever people say. But I bought into all of this beforehand. I completely believe in ghosts and, mediums and psychics and all that. So I wanted to speak with my grandmother, and it took a while to like get there. Mm-hmm. They edit it like an hour down to like 5 minutes.
Totally.
But I like had someone write down everything he was saying, because there was a bunch of things that weren't making sense, and towards the end I was like, oh my gosh, like little things down to he brought up a puppet, and my grandmother used to like play with these finger puppets. So it was like very weird details. And it's not like what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be him saying, your grandmother says she loves you and she misses you. But it's not that direct. It's more like he was getting all these good memories that her and I shared.
Wow.
And then there was a bunch of other stuff that, dealt with other people. But he's incredible. It's really bizarre to be in his presence when he's channeling all this, because he sweats profusely and he doodles. He has to write, and it's a little creepy, I'm not gonna lie, but he definitely has a gift. It's very cool.
I love that. We're gonna wrap this on an amazing note, because I want to know this too. Okay. Amise from YouTube says, will there be any new music soon? I would love that.
Well, album-wise, hopefully in the next couple of years, but this hasn't even been announced yet, but
So you can tell it here.
Well, I'm doing a film where I play a singer. It's like an animated film, so there will be some music there. But I would love, the thing about me and music is I never want it to feel forced or like, oh, this seems like the right thing to do. I want it to feel very authentic, and like when I have time off to do it. So music will always be a part of my life. I just don't have like an exact date of when, but definitely soon.
Might I suggest?
I know they hate hearing soon because whatever, but.
I would like a trio between you, Janelle, and Sasha.
Done. Easy. I love those girls. They better be in too.
Definitely. Thank you all so much for chatting with Lucy and I. And be sure to keep it locked to the CW, because Life Sentence airs Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and then it's going to bump over to Fridays at 9 p.m.
Correct.
Yes. All right. Fantastic. Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.